Now, 9 of the 11 state questions passed, and that includes State Question 756, which in essence allows Oklahoma residents to opt out of federal health care.
But just because voters have decided to add this to our state's constitution doesn't mean this issue is over, not by a long shot. Ed Murray joined us with what yesterday's vote on 756 and the Attorney General's race mean for the health care fight. Ed?
Well, Kelly, these votes are really just the starting point. Yes, voters have said they want to opt out. But the big question still remains, can the state actually do that, even with a constitutional amendment? The answer is no, not without a court fight. A fight our current Attorney General was not willing to join, but one our next AG can't wait to begin.
We're going to send a message to Washington, D.C. that we're going to use the courts to push back against Washington, D.C.
Attorney General-elect Scott Pruitt says one of those pushback efforts will be against health care reform on constitutional grounds.
We've talked often about setting up a federalism unit where we will retain attorneys to make sure that we wake up each day and go to bed each night with one thought in mind. How do we protect Oklahoma's freedom? In the next 2 years, that's going to be very important, because we still see an aggressive Washington, D.C.
But OU law professor Joseph Ty believes Pruitt will be fighting a losing battle.
But as a constitutional law scholar, I can tell you that there's about 200 years worth of Supreme Court cases that support the ability of the federal government to regulate in this area.
However, Pruitt believes the voters have given him a key weapon to challenge federal health care.
And here's your ballot.
State Question 756, passing with 65% of the vote, making opting out part of our state's constitution. That will allow Pruitt to argue in court that this is a 10th Amendment states' rights issue against an unconstitutional law.
And it's a very helpful thing to us as it relates to the potential litigation that we'll be involved in. We will engage. We will challenge Obamacare and challenge it very soon.
And the ultimate question would essentially be whether the law is constitutional. If the federal health care law is constitutional, then there's no choice for Oklahomans. They have to obey it, regardless of whether or not Oklahoma citizens have decided on their ballot that they would not want to obey it.
Pruitt told me he's received sound advice from Virginia's Attorney General, who has already filed one of the state lawsuits against the federal law. And remember, the U.S. House went back to Republicans last night, and the next expected Speaker, John Boehner, already says the GOP will begin to lay the groundwork for repealing the health care law. Kelly?
It's going to be an uphill fight. All right, Ed. Some experts say fighting the federal health care law could come at an enormous cost to Oklahomans. You can read what our Oklahoma Impact team found out about that by going to news9.com, Oklahoma Impact.